Okay guys, so for number 92, we have the square root multiplication advanced, and we're gonna have one quick reminder, and that is, if we're multiplying, for example, 3 square root of 2 times 7 root 5, we really have 4 separate numbers multiplied together, 3, root 2, 7, and root 5. So you can multiply in any order that you want. And if I multiply the 3 and the 7 first, I'll have 21. And when you multiply roots together, you just multiply their radicands together. So root 2 times root 5 is the square root of 10. Okay, so we have, in this one, we would have the 3 times the 7 out front, the 2 times 5 underneath, so 21 root 10. Okay, now that we have that, when I go to multiply these together, the number that I don't see out in front of 72, square root of 72, is a 1. So I'm going to start off by taking 1 times 2, and I'll have 2. And then 72 multiplied by 48. Most of you won't actually pick up your calculator and multiply that to get 3,456 because you want to simplify that square root. And the first thing you're going to do to simplify that square root is come off to the side and make a factor tree. And those are the first 2 numbers in your branches. So 72 times 48 is how we got 3,456. So those are our first 2 branches. Then we want to think of 2 numbers that multiply together to get 78 and 48. We have lots of options. Okay, but I went ahead and went with 8 and 9. To get 48 is 6 times 8. That 8 is 2 times 4. That 9 is 3 times 3. That 6 is 2 times 3. And that 8 is 2 times 4. Out of all of these numbers here, the only ones we can break down more is that 4. So the 4 is 2 times 2. That 4 is 2 times 2. And then I just brought down the rest of the numbers. So we can rewrite 3,456 as 2 times 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 3 times 3 times 3. And remember, we don't see the little index number there, but when it's not there, it's a 2, meaning we need 2 of a kind to take out a number. So a pair of 2s, I'm going to take out a single 2. Another pair of 2s, I take out a single 2. Pair of 2s, take out another 2. That 2 doesn't pair up, so it stays underneath. Pair of 3s, so I take out a 3, and then that 3 is still trapped. All right, and then now that 2 is already out front, so if I multiply those together, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 3, that's our number out front, and then 2 times 3 underneath, and we end up with 48 square root of 6. Okay, so one more time. The number out front was 1, the number out front was 2, so 1 times 2 gave me my 2. The radicands, 72 and 48, I multiply those together, I got 3,456. Then I needed to simplify that square root, so I broke it all the way down into a product of primes, rewrote it, and every time you get 2 of a kind, you get to take 1 number out. Now there is a little tiny bit of a shortcut there with your factor tree. You know, you could look for matches a little bit sooner. You don't have to go all the way down to the primes. If you see a match sooner, you could just stop with those numbers. So for example, I may want to go 78, 48, but then I made that 8 and 9 and 6 and 8. I already see there's an 8 in common. So I could just take an 8 out front for the 2 of a kind. Keep breaking down the 9 and the 6, which is 3, 3, 2, 3. A pair of 3s, take out a 3, and what's left over is the 2 and the 3. So here, notice I didn't rewrite it, broken down into a product of primes. I went ahead and stopped with the 8s and took that out a little bit sooner.